Hey Tyler, how's it going?
Hey, Bill. Good. How are you?
Good,
Tyler, Bill, how are you?
good. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Great. Really excited to see the. I mean, I've played around with the demo a little bit, but I'm really excited to show it off to everyone else.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Really quick, uh, do either of you want to try to just share your screen real quick? I want to make sure I configured it correctly.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
Awesome. Cool.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, we'll give it 1 or 2 more minutes and then jump into it.
Sounds good.
Okay, we can probably just kick it off. So, yeah, I'll just run right through it. So, welcome everyone to the final session of the Blockchain Accounting Summit. We've had some really cool talks so far about how all of this stuff can be integrated and used in commercial activities. But what we're going to take a look at now is an actual implementation of this technology. In a way that anyone, you or I, could use to actually manage an enterprise resource planner, manage the supply chain of a company. So I'll let the experts speak for themselves. Got Tyler McBride, Bill Wolf, both from EY to speak on the EY blockchain analyzer and OpsChain baseline demo. So I'll let you all take it away.
Cool. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for the introduction. Hey, everyone. My name is Bill Wolf. I am based out of the Philadelphia office when we used to go to offices. I live in New Jersey, but Philadelphia still takes taxes out of my paycheck, so I can still say I'm a member of the Philadelphia office. But I've been with the EY for about 7 years now. I'm a manager in the assurance practice. And throughout my career, I've been very involved in data analytics and digital audit. And over the past couple of years, I've moved into a role into our firm's global assurance innovation. So essentially what that means is what are the future emerging technologies and how are we going to audit them? And that's sort of where the blockchain analyzer comes into play. I serve as the product owner for the EY blockchain analyzer, and as we're working to deploy it onto the blockchain.ey.com platform. So I'll do a quick demo and do a quick presentation of the blockchain analyzer, and then I'll pass it over to Tyler. But Tyler, do you want to quickly introduce yourself up at the top?
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Tyler. I went to Indiana University, not too far away from you guys. Graduated just a little over 3 years ago, and I've been at EY since. I started in the technology advisory program, and then about 2 years ago, I switched into the blockchain team, and now I'm one of the product owners for OpsChain, which I'll show you in a little bit.
Cool. All right. So let me share my screen. All right. So before I do the demo, I just think it's helpful for some context before I share everything. So the EY blockchain analyzer. So what's the real purpose of the blockchain analyzer? So inside the blockchain, you can trust the math, but we work in the real world. Our clients have transactions that they process within their ERP system. They issue their financial statements through a series of different programs that they consolidate their financial statements, but that's not all on the blockchain right now. So how do we verify what's on the chain and what's off the chain? And that's really where our blockchain analyzer comes into play. And we really have to think. So when you're an auditor, you have to think what could go wrong. That's the core of how you approach any audit. You talk about risk, you talk about what could go wrong. So some what could go wrongs. So on-chain, off-chain connections, tokens created on-chain are not matched with off-chain assets. Payment off-chains may not contain, never be used to buy on-chain assets. Smart contracts contain bugs. Unintended transactions occur. There's multiple different what could go wrongs that it could occur on a blockchain. I think the biggest thing with that as an auditor, as an accounting student to understand is blockchain, there's still risk associated with it and audit risk that we have to address whenever we have a blockchain system that is subject to audit. And our blockchain analyzer really seeks to do that and be a part of our program. So our analyzer tells us what happened on the blockchain. So we have many input sources. So our blockchain analyzer is really a suite of our tools that we go to market with. But what I'll be showing and demonstrating today is our EY Helix audit tool. So this is a tool that is a part of our audit teams, and they go and receive client data and perform audit procedures using our UI Helix audit. So UI Helix is a core of our data analytics platform, and it's really revolutionary, which is embedded by our global audit methodology. So I'll be demoing that today, but then we also have some other tools as part of the blockchain analytics. So we have audit readiness solutions, Explorer and Visualizer, which we have a demo out on blockchain.ey.com. We're not a demo, a real working product out there on blockchain.ey.com, where you can visualize and explore Ethereum transactions that are occurring that on the blockchain. So recommend checking that out. Tax Calculator is going to be released later this year, where it's our blockchain analytics tax calculator to take our clients who have blockchain transactions and with a tax impact and really performing the appropriate tax procedures to make sure that they're reporting it appropriately on their income tax forms. And then our smart contract and token review, that's another tool that's out freely available to use on our blockchain.ey.com platform. You have the ability to verify smart contracts that have been coded appropriately within the ERC standards. So that's also under our blockchain analytics. And really, these are analyzers that help with the execution of our services. Tyler is going to demo our OpsChain. OpsChain is really a tool that can be provided to execute business services and business operations, and less so execution of our services like a blockchain analyzer for our EY Helix audit. So sort of visualizing what our suite is. So I mentioned the smart contract review tool, Explorer and Visualizer. Both of these you can go access on blockchain.ey.com, and I'll be showing the blockchain analyzer. And this is our current version of the tool. It's used by over 130 plus clients, available in 95 countries. We support Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic. We have multiple other currencies that we're onboarding over the next couple of weeks. So Tether, Dogecoin, Stellar, 0x, a bunch of different currencies that will get onboarded under our blockchain analyzer for assurance. So without further ado, let me do a quick demo of the tool. So reconciling on-chain and off-chain data is the big thing. So we first start with client data. So clients will provide us with three different data points that we will use and upload into our blockchain analyzer. So the data points we take are transactions ID. So what are the transactions that are occurring within the entity's wallets? And we get a data dump, and we get those transactions. So think of it, if you're putting your current day auditor hat on, transaction ID, very similar to your journal entries. So journal entries, clients post transactions every day. They go and posting the ERP system, similar to a transaction ID, ins and outs of what's occurring on the public blockchain and how are they moving digital assets from one area to another. So that's the transaction ID. The other one is wallet balances. So what are the wallet balances as of a period of time? As of your reporting date, as of your interim date, what are the wallet balances as of that time that we can use to reconcile? Think of your wallet balances, you're thinking your current day auditing, your trial balance. So we have a trial balance, we get it from the client as of a period. Similar to our wallet balances, we have a wallet balance as a certain period that is agreeing to a client's wallet balance that we'll use and we'll upload into our blockchain analyzer. And then we have our private key access validation. So a handful of transactions that we have flagged that management has initiated on our behalf to validate the existence and the ownership of the assets. So that's some select sample transactions that we have asked management to enter into. This shows the currencies we take, but similar setup. The different currencies are shown below. And then if we have an ERC20 token that we're onboarding, similar format, how we upload it. So once you get the tool, and once we upload the data, you'll have the blockchain analyzer will be generated. And the blockchain analyzer, which I'm showing, is our audit tool under our UI Helix data analytics platform. So really, the blockchain analyzer is really unique to EY because it's embedded by our global audit methodology. And let me explain. So the way we have the analyzer set up is really to talk about, or really set up as for the scope of the audit. So if we're thinking about a scope of the audit, we think about our initial planning phases. So it could be, we have our planning phases, but we call it our scope and strategy phases. So how are we planning the audit? What is the risk associated with this entity? And how will that impact our risk assessment that will drive our planned substantive procedures and drive our CRA? So that's what this understanding wallets, and I realize that is probably very small. So let me zoom in a little bit. So get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right. So hopefully that is a little better. So this is the blockchain analyzer, and we start with our scope and strategy section. So our understanding wallet and our understanding transactions. So the analysis here are client data. So what is the makeup of the wallets and what are the makeup of the transactions? So above here, we have the wallet addresses with the ledger balances as of the period of time that we uploaded. So we have, and I can zoom into this. But this will show for the different currencies, this will show the latest balance that was retained from the client from the wallet addresses. So each of the wallet addresses that we've uploaded into the system, it will show the different wallet balances that the balances as of the time, as of the latest block time that we've uploaded. So this will help us assess what are the most active wallets. Is there what's the largest balances? Are there how many wallets does the company have, or our clients have? What is the nature and extent of those wallets, and what is the makeup of them? How many wallet addresses do they have? How many does a client control? So that really helps with our overall initial risk assessment and understand the makeup of the client. And then below here, we have, this shows us the balance per address over time. So through the addresses, through the balances that we've uploaded, and over time we can see what is the activity over the dates and over the timeline, and how does that make that up. So is there a lot of activity within a certain wallet? Is there a lot of activity on a certain day? Is there not much activity on certain days? It really just helps us get an understanding of sort of how the client's operating and how they're using these wallets, and what are the balances per the address. So that's our overall initial scope and strategy and risk assessment. And we have the ability to filter by specific currency, do by specific period, search by specific address. We have all that ability and functionality as part of the blockchain analyzer. And then also I mentioned our wallets that we have uploaded for client data. We also have the transactions. So what are the frequency of transactions per the wallet? What is the timeline of the transactions per the wallet? These are all things that help us with our risk assessment of what is the client providing, and what is the frequency of the wallets, which really help us plan our substantive procedures and plan and modify our CRA. So that's what these two sections are here. And then after we get there, we get to our verification tabs. And this is really where we have our bread and butter of our substantive audit procedures. So this might not look like much. So we have match and mismatch, we have walled addresses, value matches, but what is happening on these in this data analytics graph is this is taking our client data, and this is connecting to a node on the blockchain. So we have an auditor's node for each of the cryptocurrencies that we have that we have uploaded. It compares it to an auditor's node that we retain, an archival node, and then it reconciles our transactions that we've uploaded to the public blockchain, and spits out a nice graph of, based off the transactions that were uploaded by our client's data, how does that match, or do we have any mismatches from that client data? So this helps us address some of the completeness assertions, some of the existence assertions, and as we start talking about more real-time auditing, this is really the basis of what this looks like, taking actual client data, reconciling out to what's occurring on a public blockchain, and showing that in a nice, easy way to visualize through this wallet verification tab. And then similarly, with this transaction verification tab, does a similar thing. So if we're verifying our wallet balances and the data within there, we are able to validate the transaction information. So what is the transactions to and from? What is the value match? So this is really the key of sort of how we're executing our substantive procedures. So our auditors know public or private is a question that came in. So our node is a node on a public blockchain. So we have various different, so for what I'm showing right now, these are all auditors nodes on a public blockchain network. We also have auditors nodes on private blockchain networks. So we have clients who have consortiums who have started private blockchains, and we have auditors nodes on those blockchains. But it's been mentioned here before, but it's important for us to get a node to get access to the node, because it's pretty much an entire records and database that we have access to, where instead of obtaining the data from the client as far as journal entries, we have access to a node which obtains all those records. So here's a public node, and the reason we reconcile from on-chain to off-chain is because the world doesn't operate fully on a blockchain yet. We operate off-chain, we operate on an ERP system. So that's why we have to do the reconciliation of those transactions. So that's what these verification tabs are. And when we're thinking about doing our audit, or we're thinking about doing our audit, we have management assertions that we have to address. And really what we're showing here and what our audit teams are doing is they're investigating outliers, following up with management, and using that as the basis for our testing, and really analyzing 100% of the transactions. So I know that's been echoed time and time again through this summit, but analyzing 100% of the transactions, understanding what's on the node, using data analytics to visualize what's matched, what's mismatched, is really the key of the assurance practice and key of where we're going within the future of moving forward within a blockchain world. So that's the transaction verification. We also have the private key access. So transactions that we've sampled, that we've asked management to initiate. In the example I'm showing here with the blockchain analyzer, we have transactions that we've asked management to initiate, and we use those as a sample of transactions. As part of our next blockchain release that's set to come out in a couple of months, we have digital sign and verify. So if they have messages we've asked the client to make, we're able to verify that on the public blockchain as well. And that's something that our audit teams are using in practice. We just don't have I don't have a good demo example that's live yet to show that off. But essentially, we still need to verify that management has the rights and ownerships of their private keys. And this is a way to show this and to visualize it using a sample of transactions. And then lastly, I'll show this understanding relationships tab. And really, the understanding relationships tab is kind of superseded by the data viz explorer that we have and released on blockchain.ey.com. All right, and it's really showing the transactions going from one section to another. So I'll show it on this version. So it shows, so the understanding relationships tab visualizes the wallet balance, the wallet transactions, say, okay, here's going from this wallet to the other wallet, and visualizes that in this understanding relationships tab. We are planning on integrating what we're doing, the data viz explorer that we've released on blockchain.ey.com into our blockchain analyzer. And that's something you can play around with right now. It's free to use on blockchain.ey.com. And it's similar to what our audit teams are using right now for an understanding relationships section on the blockchain analyzer. We haven't, because this is a proprietary audit tool, it's not released on blockchain.ey.com, available for general public use. But in order to this is a great thing you can play around with from an explorer perspective within the understanding relationships. So this is the sort of the quick high-level demo of the blockchain analyzer. The key is the blockchain analyzer is connected to an auditor's node, and the auditor's node helps us is key to performing real-time analytics and to understanding the transactions that management transactions that management has recorded on the public blockchain and recording it to what has been reconciling it to what has been reported off chain. So this is the key that unlocks what will become the future of auditing, where we're doing more real-time auditing. We're connecting, having auditors node. A lot of the what you're learning right now, you're probably learning about initial auditing, data analytics, initially blockchain. It's a really great time to be a college student, because the business world and the landscape is changing drastically. I remember when I was started within the firm, I was auditing 10K, but my first job was to take the full binder and to take copies of the full 10K tie out. It took me 3 hours to make copies with all the staples, but we're no longer doing that. We don't rely on paper, but the future is blockchain. The future is data analytics. The future is AI, RPA, and it's a really exciting time to get into the workforce, because you'll get to experience these emerging technologies and have a hands-on experience. And it's good to get access to this technologies now and start to understand how it's going to impact your career in the future. So staying cautious of time. If anybody has any other questions or any questions of the blockchain analyzer, let me know. But if not, I could pass it to Tyler, and then I see a question from Chris. I'll answer that as we transition over. So let me stop sharing.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Bill. And see, I have a quick couple of slides to show really quick. Hopefully you guys can see them. So first, I just wanted to show this. This is kind of like a high level overview of some of the solutions. So what Bill was just showing here was part of the blockchain analyzer suite. And then what I'm going to be showing is this first one here, OpsChain network procurement, which is part of our kind of greater OpsChain product portfolio here. So first, I'll just give a little background on what the solution is. So what kind of procurement challenges are being solved here. And so one of the big problems is that in most of these procurement networks, they're today using these point-to-point messaging solutions, which can be expensive and redundant. Buyers on average are losing 12% of the value from contract leakages. And so by tracking it on a blockchain, you can ensure that there's no leakage there. And 12% is obviously, 12% of your total procurement is a pretty high number. And then this one is just kind of showing what the workflow is going to look like. And so we'll go through each one of these steps. You're going to be able to create a contract, an order, and then fulfill, and then invoice, and then finally the pay step, which is not going to be available actually on this beta here. So what I'm going to show is something that's live on BlockchainUI.com right now that anyone can go sign up and try for free. Although it is a beta version and it's not going to be the full application. So with that, I will start sharing the other screen. Cool. So if you guys can see this one, someone want to give me a nod? Bill, you want a nod? Okay.
All good.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So when you get to blockchainui.com, you can just, as you'd imagine, click start here, which is going to take you to show how to register an account. And I won't actually fill this out because I've already used all my emails on different accounts, but pretty straightforward. So I'll go ahead and sign in here. Once you get signed in, you can go up to here and you can see my dashboard. Actually, let me go back. I'll show more on the homepage first. So up on the top of the homepage, you can also navigate. You can see kind of products. And so this is the one that we're going to be looking at today, network procurement. Explorer and Visualizer is part of the analyzer tool that Bill had just been showing. And this is something that we're kind of constantly working on and updating. So even though this one only got released relatively recently, we already have made substantial changes since then, and we'll be releasing another version at some point not too far in the future. We also have a resources tab. You can see different links here to different summits or different EY material points of view. Join the mailing list, information on baseline protocol or the EY blockchain Reddit community, just different links here. As well, a tab for enterprises. If you as an enterprise want to get more information on one of the products, this is a good way to submit a request. So then when you go back to the dashboard, you can see these are the different applications that are currently live on the site. So we'll go into OpsChain. And then I'm actually already registered here, but I'll show you how it would work if you were registering for the first time. And so currently, and this is something that's already kind of been something that we've been working on changing, but right now we're using a tool called Metamask. So if you're not familiar with Metamask, it's a browser extension for interacting with crypto. And so you can have different Ethereum accounts on the Metamask here. And so I'll open up this new account that's never been registered. And so when I come here, it's going to ask me to fill out some form for my company registering. So let's try Miami Co. And I'm not gonna give it some real information right now to save time. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to my other account. And so what you would do here, so on this MetaMask, right here, your account is actually gonna be your full Ethereum address. This is how you would interact with other people. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that so I can add this on my other account. Okay, so when I come back here, I'll go to the business partners tab. If I want to add a new business partner, I'll just give it the Miami Co and paste in this Ethereum address. And then now this is going to be added. It's inactive because I haven't set up a contract with them yet. So this partner has been added, but I don't have any active contracts or anything like that going yet. Let's say I want to. So if you navigate down to RFQ, you're going to be able to create a new request for a quote. And maybe I'm going to say, so you can put when is the deadline, when you want the quotation by. So let's say I want it just 2 weeks from now. What kind of thing you're looking for. So I'm going to say I'm looking for some of these ones I already did, a tire. So let's say it's a large tire. And I'm going to send this to Miami Co. And actually, I'm also going to send this to my other Ohio Co. That I set up. So we'll send this out to both of those suppliers here. So when I go back to my other account here, it's going to be waiting for me in the view here. And sorry, I'm going to have to go back and forth a couple of times. So like I said, this is one of the things that we are working on updating, where going forward, you're not going to have to use the MetaMask extension, but you're going to be able to actually import your Ethereum account directly into BlockchainUI.com. So you'll have that information just stored in. And I'll explain a little bit later why that's going to be helpful. So once you get back here in the RFQ tab, you can see this is the new proposal for the large tires that I just made. So I'm going to go ahead and create the proposal. And so this is where it comes in with some of the value leakage. So one of the problems is when you're doing volume tiered pricing. So say the first 100 is going to cost $10, and then the second 100, I'm going to give a discount, make it only $9. And then maybe even another one, anything up to 300 should be $8, or 300 or more. And then I'll go ahead and submit that. And so this is part of what I was describing, where there could be potential value leakage, but in this case, it's all going to be tracked with the blockchain signatures to ensure that you're getting actually the right value on each one. Okay, so now that that's made, that's going to be back in my other account. Let's go back to here. Okay. Okay. Now you can create a contract from that. So when I go to create a contract, here it is, Miami Co. with the tire with the rate table that I entered. And here's the first part where blockchain comes into play. And so as I go to sign and submit this contract, it pulls up MetaMask. And when I hit this sign here, it's actually signing it using my Ethereum address to verify, that I was the one that had signed this transaction. And so once I do that, now that's pending and it's ready for the supplier. And so back on the supplier side, now you can see I have this contract that's ready to go. And the supplier also has to sign the contract using MetaMask. So again, this is going to be with now their Ethereum address as well. Okay. And now the contract's active. And now when I go back to my business partner page here, it's going to show active with an active contract. Then back over here, so now I'm actually going to be able to create a purchase order. And this is the contract that I'd used before. And this is actually using the hash that would go on the blockchain. And it's going to be a unique ID just across everything. And so now let's see, I want maybe 110 of these. And so this is going to show me actually where it's going to calculate out, the volume tiers as well. So say I want 200 instead, or 205. It's going to show exactly how these break down into the different tiers. And let's say I want this just by next week. So you can go ahead and submit the purchase order. When you do that, again, each step now of the way, you're going to have to sign with the Metamask to verify the transaction. And so if you were part of a bigger organization, even if you were signing on behalf of your organization, they would be able to see through the wallet address here which employee was using that wallet at the time. Okay, now I'll go back over here to the supplier. And there's going to be an open purchase order here. And it's going to show all this information with the value. So again, the supplier side also has to accept the purchase order. And so I guess just to stop for a second. So each one of these things normally would be happening in like a ERP system, right? And so we have this set up where it's going to be integrated with ERP, so you can directly have those be fed in. But as well, we're going to have this kind of web-based interface for any kind of other suppliers. So this is fully something that's going to be compatible with other ERPs and also just other blockchain applications. For instance, using the baseline protocol, any other application built on baseline is going to be able to interface with this in the future. So we'll go ahead and sign here to accept the purchase order. Now it's accepted, we'll go back to the other account. Now I can issue an invoice. Or can I? No, I have to go back. Sorry, this is my other invoice. I'd set up a couple dummy ones just in case to show. But here now we have the accepted purchase order. And then you have to confirm the receipt of the goods. And so this is something that, again, normally if you are confirming, it might be using like a scan gun or something to confirm the package receipt, but that would get directly fed into the system. Okay, so now that I've confirmed that I've got the goods, now I can go ahead, I think, and directly issue the invoice from here. No, I think never mind, sorry. Like I said, we've actually changed multiple things since this was released, but so we do have to go back to this one first. Okay, now you can see it's been delivered. Now the supplier here is going to be the one issuing the invoice. And we'll make that due on Saturday.
So Tyler, one
Yes.
question that came up. So what data are we actually storing on the blockchain right now when we're initiating these orders?
Yeah, good question. So right now, we're just storing, so there's no actual money being moved yet, although the next step here when we get to paying the invoice, which is something that's not available in the beta, but in real life when you're doing this, you would be able to pay actually through the blockchain. So right now we're just signing these signatures onto the blockchain to show each step. And so the data right now is not, I mean, it's not encrypted in the way that, for instance, I don't know if it was ever mentioned earlier or if this has been covered, but something that EY has been working on for a while is called Nightfall, and that was kind of somewhat what led into the baseline protocol. This is using zero-knowledge proofing to encrypt the data that's on the blockchain, so that even though it's publicly available on chain, it's not something that you'd have to privately through secure messaging send the keys for your partners to be able to decrypt that. And so that's something that is certainly not happening in this demo right now, but it will be in the application. It will be using that zero knowledge. So all the data will be on the blockchain, and you can send different partners different. It's called the salt, and so we can give them different, salt and essentially keys so they can see the different parts of the data that we want them to see, but they're not going to be able to see any of the other data. And then back here, so this is kind of the end here. Once you would get to this is where you'd be able to go ahead and pay the invoice. But again, that's not something that is currently enabled on the beta here. Yeah, and so that kind of takes it to the end of the workflow, at least with what has been currently released. So I'll stop here for questions.
think we went through a lot of them, but I'll go ahead and ask one. What is, and I know you showed off a little bit of it, but what is kind of the next step for OpsChain, given the current functionality?
Yeah, great question. So a couple different things. So one thing that we're looking at from the kind of procurement application side. So right now, we have these purchase orders and invoices. And something that we are looking to do in the future is leverage a platform to be able to actually kind of collateralize and tokenize those invoices and purchase orders. So say you're a company and you have this invoice, the money is coming, but you haven't gotten it yet. And so maybe you want to take out kind of like a loan on that invoice. And so in the future, you're going to be able to just directly kind of tokenize that loan as a tokenized asset, and something that can be sold or getting collateralized for a loan. Another thing that we're working on, not specific to the procurement application, but one of the other kind of key applications for OpsChain is around the track and trace kind of use cases. So that's something that we're also actively building out that will be released not too far in the future on BEC for the first kind of version. But yeah, that's something that we're kind of actively working on right now, as well as really just that track and trace application.
Awesome. And then I guess, oh, sorry.
Oh, I said I saw a question that we didn't answer in the Q&A. So maybe Tyler, you're a pretty successful guy. So how does someone interested in blockchain and accounting get into one of these companies with no Big Four experience and working on cutting edge projects like the one you're working on right now?
Sure, I can go for that. So like I said, I only graduated just 3.5 years ago, and I started in a different part of EY. And so blockchain was not something that I'd been taught in school really or anything like that. It was just something that I'd been kind of passionate about and done a lot of kind of personal research and learning in my spare time. And so when I started in the firm, I was in our kind of ERP focused practice, and I started working with teams at a particular client, and I kind of got to learn about some of the blockchain projects that we had going on. And so I just kind of took it on myself to reach out to all those teams and kind of volunteer my help. So at first, it's like I'm working on another project during the day, and during the evening, I'm helping, build some go-to-market materials or whatever else for the blockchain team, just because it was what I was really just passionate about and wanted to get involved with. And through that, you can kind of find these opportunities to kind of show what you can do. And then from there, I was able to eventually join a project and then ultimately actually join the team kind of formally.
Awesome.
So I'd say if you are in a company that has projects like that going on, just definitely reach out and kind of volunteer time. But also, if you're not in that situation, I'd say getting involved with some of these open source kind of communities, like with Baseline, we have a big kind of open source community that's building out a lot of stuff. And I know they have different initiatives, where you don't have to necessarily be on the more technical side, I think, to get involved. So that's something I definitely encourage as well.
Yeah, and that's just so just for Big Four. So we have a great internship program. So there's a student in Miami of Ohio. We have a recruiter. Get in touch with them to get an internship with the UI, and that's a great way to get your foot in the door. And I mean, I didn't even start with blockchain either when I started. The blockchain really wasn't a thing when I started for overall started practice, but I was very into data analytics, and then I just did data analytics on my job, and then that started escalating into getting more known for that, and then that opened up to a global role within blockchain because I was interested in that. I was able to get access to that, but really, it's just a key to anything you're doing within a company, especially with public accounting. It's a very entrepreneurial kind of company within EY. So Tyler was interested in blockchain. He's like, let me try anything I can do to get access to blockchain. Our America's assurance strategy leader, his name is David Bird. He is very interested in blockchain. How he got his start, and I agree, I was subscribed to it. He was very interested in blockchain. He just sent out weekly newsletters to the assurance practice, and then that started growing. His name started getting out there that he was the blockchain guy, and now he's our strategy leader for America's assurance. So I think that is just encapsulating sort of what EY is all about, where you can start be interested in something, work your way and start getting known for that. And it's really an entrepreneurial type kind of company. No one's going to tell you what to do, but you have a lot of opportunity here. It's really just taking the most of it. So I think that's the biggest thing. And getting into EY, just talking to the recruiters, and or any company you're at, just know that you have the ownership to really accelerate your career, which is the biggest thing that will help you get acclimated and move your interests along. So I think that's the biggest thing.
I know this is mostly a financial workshop, but I will go ahead and make a little bit of a greedy question. So how would developers looking to get started with Baseline go about doing that? What is the first step?
You're probably better at that than I am, Tyler.
Sure. Yeah, I can take that. Yeah. So even if you go to baseline-protocol.org, there's going to be a link somewhere at the bottom. You can join the Slack channel. And I'd say that's probably the best way to get plugged in. If you join the Slack channel, just in the general chat that everyone would be in, you can see all kinds of discussions going on. There's like a different steering committees and different little subgroups working on different tasks. And so just go ahead and join, and just, even if you want, just say something like, hey, I'm a student that's really interested in blockchain. I'd really like to get involved with Baseline. And I'm sure there will be people hitting you up to see if you can help.
Yeah, because the best thing to do is to be a student asking for help. Professionals love helping out students, so don't feel like it's a stupid question. I mean, when I was a college student, I did an internship at the company. I literally reached out to anybody within the company. I had a meeting with the CFO. I had a meeting with high up people at the company. No one turned me down. If I get an invite from a person in LinkedIn that's a college student, I'm not declining them. Use this as your trump card to get access to anybody you want, because most likely they're willing to help you out. And we don't have anything going on right now. We're all quarantined, so you have access to a lot more people, even more so now than you would have before. So take advantage of that and use your being a student to your advantage.
Awesome, great advice. I don't think we have any more questions. So is there any final thoughts?
So I would say the biggest thing is if you're interested in blockchain, definitely sign up for the mailing list at blockchain.ey.com. Get an account, and yeah, check out our resources there. We have a lot that is on there right now. That is going to be where we post everything. So the more you can be connected to that, follow us on Twitter. Go to blockchain.ey.com. You'll have access to everything. So. We have a lot coming down the pipeline that we wish we could show you right now, but there's a lot of exciting stuff that's coming down the pipe, and it's a great place to be.
Yeah, definitely. And just to say it again, I'd say definitely look into Baseline and seeing what you can do there, because it's an open source thing and it's really a kind of community effort. I think there's lots of opportunities to get involved. And if you do join the Slack, feel free to shoot me a message, say that you'd listen to this, and I'm happy to set up time or just chat with you on Slack for a little bit. And also, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we at MEBC are pretty hyped about Baseline, so I think we'll definitely have a couple of people doing that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Tyler, Bill. This was an awesome session, and the UI as a whole, and I guess PwC if they're listening, but thanks so much for everything that you've shown us today. I'm sure people who stayed throughout the entire thing can have completely changed their whole view and understanding of this technology and how it might impact their lives moving forward. So, yeah.
Sounds good. No problem at all. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. All right. This recording will be online on our YouTube channel. So welcome to go back and look over it again. I know I will. So
awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
All right, have a good one.